this short video, we'll learn how can we set navigation in our Cognos Contributor application. And here we are talking about the web application. Now, what is a navigation? Let me explain. When you open an EList node in your web application, the model will be shown in terms of different tabs to an end user. Now sometimes user come up with a requirement where they want some tabs at some specific locations. For example, user may come up and ask you to set this travel costs tab as the first tab of this model. They just want to rearrange these tabs as per their requirement. Now how do we do that? We'll open Contributor Administration Console. We'll go to the development and we'll select navigation. Here all the cubes which exist in your model will be shown to you. Now if the requirement is to set travel costs as the first cube, you will send the travel costs at the top. Similarly, if you want to rearrange these cubes, you can do that on this screen. So just for example, if user wants all the tabs to set as per their alphabetical numbering, we'll just do that. Now I've set all the cubes as per their alphabetical numbering. I'll save the model. Now remember, whatever changes that you make in your development model, first you need to save those changes and then you need to run a go to production process. So I have saved these changes in my development model. Now if I want to send these changes to my production version, I'll just run go to production. I could have run that go to production manually, but that would take time. So to save time, I have just created a macro called GECGTP, that means go expense contributor go to production process. I'll just execute this process and this process will complete without giving me any prompts. But one important thing to remember is that when you are running a go to production process with help of a macro, you need to remember that what all options did you set while you created that macro. Because when you run go to production using the manual method by clicking on this arrow button, you are presented with all the options. You could for example, create planning package. You could have taken the backup also, but when you are running this macro, nothing like this is presented in front of you. So it's your responsibility to take any backups that may be required, to check the invalid owners or editors, and if you have any doubts about your changes to be sent to your production version, or if there is a possibility that other users may have been editing the nodes of your e-lists, it's better that you do run the go to production process manually. But if not, you can just take backup of your application, this contributor application, and you can just run a macro the way I did. Now as soon as this go to production process completes, we'll be able to change this tab rearrangement. To check that, I have closed this model. Changes will be reflected as soon as this process completes, and then we'll open a node to check that. The go to production process may take some time depending on your model size, the number of e-list items you have, or the kind of change that you have performed. Sometimes when you have performed access related changes, you have hidden some cubes, or you have set a certain access on certain nodes of your e-lists, then a reconciliation process could have been triggered. Because of that, your go to production process may take a little bit longer than it will take usually. For navigation orientation kind of small changes, go to production process will not take much time. So you can see this process has been completed in 1 minute and 40 seconds only.